Day one, federal prosecutors and Combs' defense counsel, they laid out their cases. Then the jury heard from a male stripper who testified about orchestrated sexual performances.
This is Sean Combs. To the public, he was Puff Daddy, or Diddy, a cultural icon, a businessman, larger than life. But there was another side to him, a side that ran a criminal enterprise. During this trial, you are going to hear about 20 years of the defendant's crimes. But he didn't do it alone. He had an inner circle of bodyguards and high-ranking employees who helped him commit crimes and helped him cover them up. Kidnapping, arson, drugs, sex crimes, bribery, and obstruction. These are just some of the crimes that the defendant and his inner circle committed again and again. You are going to hear about all of them during this trial. The defendant called these encounters by different names over the years. First, freak-offs. Later, wild king nights or hotel nights. Week after week, the defendant directed freak-offs in hotels across the country and sometimes out of the country. At times, the defendant had escorts and the women travel from out of state. So the defendant's staff sometimes organized flights, cars, and hotels. The defendant's businesses paid those expenses. For 20 years, the defendant, with the help of his trusted inner circle, committed crime after crime. That's why we are here today. That's what this case is about. Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this is not a complicated case. This case is about love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. This case is about voluntary adult choices made by capable adults and consensual relationships. The government can say over and over again that this is not about his private sex life. But the evidence will show you that it is. Not one witness will get into this courtroom and will take that witness stand and tell you that they were part of any racketeering-influenced corrupt organization act enterprise. And the reason is simple. There was not one. Perhaps they did not always show love to one another the way you would with your partner, but they were in a relationship, and she was not being trafficked. This assault happened almost 10 years ago on March 5th of 2016. But I want to start by saying two things. That video shows domestic violence, not sex trafficking. Sean Combs has a bad temper. He sometimes gets so angry or so jealous that he is out of control. But he is not charged with being mean. He is not charged with being a jerk. He's charged with running a racketeering enterprise. Jane is also older than Cassie was when she started dating him. She is a capable, strong adult woman. She agreed, and they went to a private hotel room. Again, like a consensual threesome. And Combs would watch. We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug user, and I'm telling you he had a bit of a different sex life. Is that a federal crime? When you hear from the witnesses who testify here who will tell you they were victimized, and you ask yourself, what is their motive? For many of them, the answer is simple: money. We will not shy away from the things Mr. Combs did, but we will not own the things he did not do. Officer Flores, at a high level, can you explain to the jury what happened during your shift on March 5th, 2016?
I was at the security base. I received a call from Instant Services saying there was a woman in distress on the 6th floor.
And did you respond to that call?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened after you responded?
When I got off the elevator, I observed a male and female in the elevator lobby.
Who did you recognize them to be?
Mr. Combs. Sean Combs.
Can you describe Mr. Combs' demeanor when you got off the elevator?
Yeah, it was... So he was on the chair, slouched down, and he was like at a blank stare. And yeah, as soon as I walked out, it was... The best way I can describe it is like a devilish stare. He was just like looking at me. So when I got out of the elevator, I kind of was stuck because I'm looking at him. He's looking at me with like no movement. And then he starts to move.
What was he wearing?
Just the towel and socks.
Now, you said that both Mr. Combs and Cassie entered the room, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Besides Mr. Combs and Cassie, was anybody else in the room?
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
A black male wearing dark clothing. He was sitting at the corner of the bed.
What, if anything, did Mr. Combs do after Cassie left?
So after she left, I told him hey, stay in the room. Again, everything is going to be charged to your room. As I started walking away, he called for me. He said, hey. I turned around. And he was pretty much holding like a stack of money. Pretty much, I don't know, that's the best way I can do it. And he was pretty much telling me hey, take of this, don't tell nobody, pretty much.
What did you understand him to mean when he said don't tell anyone?
A bribe.
A bribe to do what?
Not to tell anybody.
What did you do when you and Cassie were in the valet area?
So when I noticed her, she was in the valet area. I still didn't know what had happened. The only thing I saw was the broken vase. So I went up to her. So where the cars pass, there's it's a sidewalk. So it's a step down. She was at the corner, or at the edge of it. So I stepped down and I got in front of her, pretty much directly in front of her, and then I was pretty much looking up at her. And then I just started asking her questions. What happened? Are you okay? And then I noticed she had a purple eye. And then I asked her did he do that? Do you want me to call the cops? And all she kept saying is, I just want to leave.
Officer Flores, towards the end of that snippet, did you see Mr. Combs dragging Cassie?
Yes, ma'am.
What direction was he dragging her in?
To the room.
What did Cassie Ventura give you money for in and around 2012?
To have sex with her.
What happened when you arrived at the Gramercy Park Hotel?
When I arrived, Cassie opened the door, and she asked me if I was okay if it was just going to be us, because I was expecting to see a group of women there, but there was only her standing the door, and she asked me to come into the room. We were standing in a foyer, and she basically said it was her birthday and that her husband wanted to do something special for her, and so she asked me if I would mind rubbing baby oil on her and giving her a massage. And, wherever things went from there, based on how comfortable I was.
After telling you what she wanted that evening, what did Ms. Ventura say next?
She told me that, first off, that I didn't have to worry about anything because her husband wasn't gay. I remember her saying that to me, and he wasn't going to try to touch me or anything. And I told her, that's good, because I wasn't with that. And then she told me that she knew that my boss told her that she told me that she knew that my boss had told her that she had to give me $200 upon arrival, and at that point she gave me a few $1,000s and said that at the end she would tip me when I'm leaving before I'm leaving.
Who else did you see in the living room when you walked into it?
There was a man sitting on the right side of the room, if I was facing him, to the back of the room.
What was the man wearing?
A white robe with a bandana over his face and a baseball cap on his head.
How, if at all, did Ms. Ventura refer to the man in the room?
As babe.
So, when he spoke to you, whose voice did you recognize?
That was Sean Combs.
Had you heard Sean Combs's voice before?
Yes.
In what context?
In every form I've ever seen him in entertainment.
Across all of these encounters, after the first one, who, if anyone, gave directions about how to engage in sexual activity?
Sean Combs did.
For each of these locations, how did you learn that they wanted to meet you there?
Cassie either called me or texted me.
How much notice did you generally receive between when Cassie would contact you and when you were supposed to arrive for a meeting?
It could be anywhere between an hour to a couple of days.
When you say you saw him hit her, who did you see hit whom?
Sean Combs hit Cassie. He, Mr. Combs, came out of the room and I just saw a bottle fly past her and hit the wall.
What kind of bottle?
It looked like a liquor bottle. And then he, Mr. Combs, walked over to her, to Cassie. He grabbed her by her hair and started dragging her by her hair into her bedroom.
Let me ask you, as Mr. Combs was dragging Cassie by her hair to her bedroom, what did you hear Mr. Combs saying?
He wasn't saying anything while he was dragging her. She was yelling.
What was she saying?
She was screaming. And he, Mr. Combs, pulled her into the bedroom and I could hear him. What sounded like him slapping her.
Without speculating about what might have been going on outside of what you could see and what you could hear, can you explain to the jury why you didn't intervene when you heard Cassie crying and what sounded like smacks?
I didn't know what to do. I was shocked. In my mind, it was going through my head that if I tried to do something, I might lose my life.